So what is up, guys? Brendan Suter back, and today I am here with NFL Week, Dan Marino, Kurt Warner, Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton, and can't guard Michael Thomas. It is Week 13 predictions. If you're looking to watch a certain matchup, timestamps are in the description box below. So click on that match you want to see. Anyways, last week, not my best. I was 8-8. Missed on a few key games and just picked the wrong upsets. But anyways, we got 15 matches to get to. Have the Arizona Cardinals and Carolina Panthers who are on their bye. So without further ado, let's get this video. We're starting off with our Thursday Night Football matchup, a classic AFC East rivalry and a rematch of the 2021 AFC wildcard game between the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. Starting off with the Bills, you won 28-25 against the Lions on Thanksgiving. Josh Allen, not his best still, threw for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Once again, that elbow injury looks like it really is starting to affect some of his passes. He also led rushing with 78 yards and a touchdown, followed by Devin Singletary with 72 yards. Lead receiver, Isaiah McKenzie, 6 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Stephon Diggs, 8 receptions, 77 yards, and a touchdown. And then Gabriel Davis, 4 receptions, 38 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, there was definitely a lot of bending against the Detroit Lions, but you were just able to hang on to the victory. And then the New England Patriots, it was a tough 33-26 loss to the Minnesota Vikings. Mac Jones had a respectable game, threw for 382 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. However, the rush game was surprisingly down as Ramondre Stevenson only mustered up 36 yards as he only had 45 rush yards in the day. Lead receiver was Devontae Parker, 4 receptions for 80 yards, followed by Ramondre Stevenson, 9 receptions, 76 yards. Nelson Aguilar, 6 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. And then Hunter Henry, 3 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. And the defense, you did a great job at shutting down the rush game of the Vikings because Dalvin Cook got nothing going. But the secondary just could not handle the Vikings' pass attack. Bills, they're 3.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread despite the Patriots pulling out the red jerseys. And now you have our very first 1 o'clock match between the Tennessee Titans and the Philadelphia Eagles. Starting off with the Titans, you lost 20-16 to the Cincinnati Bengals. Ryan Tannehill was okay, threw for 291 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Derrick Henry can only muster up 38 rushing yards. But he did lead receiving with 3 receptions for 79 yards, followed by Traylon Burks, 4 receptions, 70 yards. And then Westbrook, 4 receptions, 58 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they were able to try to keep down the Bengals as much as possible. Held them to only 20 points. But in the end, you fell short. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, I was telling you, a ground and pound attack is what you needed to beat the Packers. And that's just what you did. Winning 40-33. Jalen Hurts threw for 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. But you had 363 rushing yards in the day. Jalen Hurts with 157. Miles Sanders with 143 and 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell with 39 and a touchdown. And then Boston Scott got himself 24 yards. So once again, that ground game, when it's fully healthy, it is the most lethal in the NFL. Lead receiver was Devontae Smith, 4 receptions, 50 yards, followed by A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 46 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Quez Watkins, 3 receptions, 35 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. And the defense, there was a little bit of bending. I mean, you did allow 33 points, so obviously there would be bending. But in the end, you were just able to hang on for the victory. Eagles are 5-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup, a classic NFC North rivalry between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Starting off with the Packers, a tough 40-33 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Aaron Rodgers threw for 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He did get injured. So in came in Jordan Love, and he was pretty solid, throwing for 113 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher was A.J. Dillon with 64 yards and a touchdown, followed by Aaron Jones with 43. So overall, a decent day from the rush game. Lead receiver was Christian Watson, 4 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Aaron Jones, 3 receptions, 56 yards, and a touchdown. And then Allen Lazard, 2 receptions, 24 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, I mean, you did a good job at keeping the pass game of the Eagles down, but you just could not stop the run. And it's not really a shock, because when you think of the Packers past, they just cannot stop the run one bit whatsoever. We saw it in the 2019 NFC Championship game when Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball 8 times and Raheem Mostert ran the Niners into the Super Bowl. And then the Bears was a tough 31-10 loss to the New York Jets. Trevor Siemian, his first couple of drives were okay, but didn't end up going well as he threw for 179 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Lead rusher was David Montgomery with 79 yards, followed by Evans with 34. Unfortunately, Justin Fields, he was injured, so he couldn't play. So if he's not going to be playing against the Packers, that's detrimental to their chance of winning. Lead receiver was Mapletron, 2 receptions, 51 yards, followed by David Montgomery, 3 receptions, 34 yards. And then Evans, 1 reception, 33 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense got picked apart by Mike White. But it's the Mike White special. I'll get into that later when I talk about the Jets. Anyways, the Packers, they're 4.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm saying that they win, but don't cover the spread. I mean, once again, like I said, if Fields plays, the Bears have a better chance at winning, but their defense is such a dumpster fire, even a sputtering Packers offense could blaze through that. And now you have our very next matchup between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Detroit Lions. Starting off with the Jaguars, man, a great fourth quarter comeback against the Baltimore Ravens, but once again, it is the Ravens. They are known for giving up fourth quarter leads. At least this season, Trevor Lawrence, great game, threw for 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Really, unfortunately, though, the rush game got nothing going as Hasty was your lead rusher with 28 yards, and you can only have 38 rushing yards in the day, which is a huge disappointment. But once again, the receiving game did its job. We had Zay Jones, 11 receptions, 145 yards, followed by Jay Hasty, 5 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. And then Christian Kirk, 4 receptions, 46 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, you had trouble against the Ravens for most of the game, but were still able to make the comeback and upset them despite Justin Tucker's attempts to kick a new record field goal. Anyways, and then the Detroit Lions, you lost 28-25 on Thanksgiving, but it's a respectable loss. Jared Goff threw for 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Jamal Williams with 66 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, who else but Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Khalif Raymond, 4 receptions, 35 yards, and then DeAndre Swift, 4 receptions, 24 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, yeah, no, they just had a lot of trouble facing off against the Buffalo Bills. Sure, Josh Allen was not 100%, but still had some struggles there. Jaguars are favored to win this one by 1.5, but I'm going to take the Lions here in an upset. And now you have our very next matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans. Now, honestly, this is probably the most storied matchup of the entire NFL season. Deshaun Watson gets traded from the Texans to the Cleveland Browns, serves his 11-game suspension, and first start as a Brown is going to be against the Houston Texans in Houston. If this wasn't set up by the NFL, I'm not sure what was. Starting off with the Browns, a great 23-17 victory against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jacoby Brissett, he's had a solid tenure as the Browns started for 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Lead rusher was Nick Chubb with 116 yards and a game-winning touchdown in overtime. Followed up with Anthony Schwartz, 1 rush for 31 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, who else but Amari Cooper, 7 receptions, 94 yards. Followed by David Njoku, 5 receptions, 29 yards and a touchdown. And then David Bell, 4 receptions, 23 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense had some trouble at times against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but were able to pull out the victory in the end. And then the Texans, a pathetic 30-15 loss. You know, benching Davis Mills, like, you really expected something good out of Kyle Allen. Not good. Threw for 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Lead rusher was Ogun Bowall with 14 yards and a touchdown. Really got nothing going on in the ground game, but when you're that far behind, I would not expect anything. Lead receiver, Jordan Akins, 5 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Brandon Cooks, 5 receptions, 59 yards, and then Nico Collins, 6 receptions, 44 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, yeah, no, the Dolphins, they took their foot off the gas in the second half, but to be honest, your defense was pretty pathetic. So Browns, they are 7-point favorites to win this one. Now, before I get into this, you know, how do I think Deshaun Watson's going to do as a Cleveland Brown? Honestly, I don't know, because once again, he hasn't played football in almost 2 years. So once again, there is a question on, is he rusty at all? Is it going to take him a few games to kind of get into sync with everything? But at his ceiling, he is an amazing quarterback, but his off-the-field issues are absolutely disgusting. Anyways, once again, Browns, 7-point favorites. I say that Deshaun Watson comes into Houston and lays waste to the Texans. Browns win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings, the two teams Brett Favre was associated with after he retired from the Green Bay Packers. Starting off with the Jets, you won 30-10 over the Chicago Bears. The legend of Mike White continues as he threw for 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Now, I'm not fully sold on his legacy because, once again, he did this exact same thing last year. His first start had an excellent performance. Everyone's like, oh, Mike White train, Mike White. Next 2 games, he sucked. So, yeah, no, I'm not hopping super high on the Mike White train. Lead rusher was Knight as... God, could this thing actually fucking respond? Lead rusher was Zonovan Knight as he had 69 yards, followed by Tyler Johnson with 62 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Garrett Wilson, 5 receptions, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns, followed by Elijah Moore, 2 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown. And then Tyler Conklin, 3 receptions, 50 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they shut down the Chicago Bears, but this was a Trevor Siemian-led Bears. So without Justin Fields, like, come on, I would expect you to win. And then the Minnesota Vikings, you had a very nice victory over the New England Patriots on Thanksgiving. Kirk Cousins, he threw for 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Lead rusher, though, was Dalvin Cook. He can only muster up 42 yards. Lead receiver, though, who else but Jay Jettas, 9 receptions, 139 yards and a touchdown. Followed by Adam Thielen, 9 receptions, 61 yards and a touchdown. And then TJ Hawkinson, 5 receptions, 43 yards and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they could shut down the rush game of the New England Patriots, but they struggle against the pass, which is kind of surprising. But still, good victory nonetheless. Vikings, they're 3-point favorites to win this one. And yeah, I'm not high on Mike White. Vikings win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Atlanta Falcons. Starting off with the Steelers' respectable 24-17 victory over the Indianapolis Colts in primetime. Kenny Pickett had a solid game, threw for 174 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Benny Snell led rushing with 62 yards and a touchdown, followed by Najee Harris with 35 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, George Pickens, 3 receptions, 57 yards, followed by Deontay Johnson, 5 receptions, 49 yards, and then Pat Freiermuth, 3 receptions, 39 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they just did a great job against the Indianapolis Colts, especially with the huge forced fumble they had against Jonathan Taylor while they were in the red zone. So, huge victory for you guys, even though it's kind of meaningless because you're not going to make the playoffs. And then the Atlanta Falcons, a tough 19-13 loss to the Washington Commanders. Marcus Mariota threw for 174 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Lead rusher was Algier with 54 yards, followed by Cordero Patterson with 52 rush yards. Lead receiver was Olamide Zaccheaus, 5 receptions, 91 yards, followed by Drake London, 2 receptions, 29 yards, and then Cordero Patterson, 3 receptions, 19 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, I mean, they were pretty good at stopping the pass game, but they could not stop the run game of the Washington Commanders. Steelers, they're favored to win this one by half a point, but honestly, this is probably the most 50-50 a game gets. Give me the Falcons. And now you have our very next matchup, a rematch of the 2012 AFC divisional game between the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens, otherwise known as the Miracle at Mile High. And these two teams I hate more than anyone else this NFL season for my prediction reasons. Start off with the Broncos. Broncos country, let's ride. Yeah, riding to 3-8. You guys suck. Lost 23-10 to a sputtering Carolina Panthers team. Russell Wilson barely completed 50% of his passes, 142 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher, though, was Latavius Murray. He was the only highlight with 92 rush yards. Lead receiver, Cortland Sutton, 6 receptions, 75 yards. Kendall Hinton, 5 receptions, 35 yards. And then Dulcich, 2 receptions, 11 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense just got exposed by Sam Darnold and Dante Foreman. Look, why I said I hate the Denver Broncos so much, you guys disappoint me so much. Anytime I give you hope, anytime I think, oh, maybe this is the time you could beat an inferior opponent, you fuck me. You fuck me on these so hard. I hate you guys so much. And then the Ravens. Like, another reason I hate you is most of the times I pick you, you end up losing because you blow a goddamn fourth quarter lead. Hold on to a goddamn lead for once in your life. You couldn't hold on to it against the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing 28-27. Lamar Jackson threw for 254 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. He also led rushing with 89 yards, followed by Gus Edwards with 52 and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Josh Oliver, 4 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Jackson, 2 receptions, 74 yards, and then Mark Andrews, 4 receptions, 50 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, it was pretty solid for most of the game, but just completely collapsed in the fourth quarter. And Justin Tucker, he could have won the game with a game-winning 67-yard field goal, but he was short, but I'm not going to blame him for that because, come on, no one else is going to do that. And if the best kicker missed a kick like that, everyone else is going to miss a kick like that. Ravens, they're 8.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm saying they win, but don't cover the spread. You blow another lead, I'm giving up on you for the season. And now you have our very next matchup, a classic NFC East rivalry between the Washington Commanders and the New York Giants. Starting off with the Commanders, you won 19-13 over the Atlanta Falcons. Taylor Heineke was okay, threw for 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. But you had 176 ground yards in the game. We had Brian Robinson with 105, Antonio Gibson with 32. It was pretty solid. Lead receiver was Scary Terry, 4 receptions, 48 yards, followed by Jesse Bates, 3 receptions, 24 yards, and a touchdown. And then Antonio Gibson, 3 receptions, 22 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, you had some trouble against the ground game of the Atlanta Falcons, but you shut down the pass game. Just a good victory overall and are slowly sneaking your way into the playoff race. And then the New York Giants was a tough 28-20 loss. Daniel Jones was okay, threw for 228 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rush was Saquon Barkley, only mustered up 39 rushing yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, Darius Slayton, 3 receptions, 63 yards, followed by Richie James, 5 receptions, 41 yards, and a touchdown. And then Isaiah Hodgins, 3 receptions, 31 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, you just couldn't stop the Dallas Cowboys. The rush game, you couldn't stop, and you couldn't stop the pass game either. You are dealing with some injuries, so the value and effort for keeping up. Commanders, they're 2.5-point favorites to win this one. And I would say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very first 4 o'clock matchup, a rematch of Super Bowl 19 between the San Francisco 49ers and the Miami Dolphins. Starting off with the Dolphins, a good 30-15 victory over the Houston Texans. Tua Tagovailoa, he threw for 299 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. He didn't really get to play much in the second half because Skylar Thompson just played and wasn't great. Lead rusher was Jeff Wilson Jr. with 39 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Jalen Waddle, 5 receptions, 85 yards, followed by Tyreek Hill, 6 receptions, 85 yards, and then Krakoft, 4 receptions, 55 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, you shut down the Houston Texans in the first half. And, you know, you had such a good first half. You let your foot off the gas in the second half. Sure, they made it closer than it should have been, but you still pulled out the victory in the end. And then the San Francisco 49ers won 13-0 over the New Orleans Saints. Screw you guys, and screw you, Mitch and my father, because lost the Niners. Damn. Anyways, Jimmy Garoppolo, he threw for 222 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher was Elijah Mitchell. He could only muster up 35 yards, followed by Christian McCaffrey with 32. Despite a strong ground game that you usually have, you only had 96 rush yards on the day. Lead receiver was Brandon Ayuk, 5 receptions, 65 yards, followed by Jawan Jennings, 6 receptions, 49 yards and a touchdown. And then Deebo Samuel, 3 receptions, 43 yards. That was pretty much it. But the defense shut out the New Orleans Saints. What else can I say? It just hurts. And I'm very upset. Anyways, the 49ers are favored to win this one by 4. But you know what? I'm going to say that the Dolphins pull off the upset. I'm going to say this is upset of the week. Dolphins over the 49ers. And now you have our very next matchup, a rematch of the 2020 NFC wildcard game and a classic NFC West rivalry between the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. Starting out with the Seahawks, it was a tough 40-34 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders in overtime. Geno Smith, great game though, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Lead rush, though, was Kenneth Walker, as he only had 26 yards, but 2 touchdowns on the day, so the touchdown saved him in fantasy, so thank you. Lead receiver was DK Metcalf, 11 receptions for 90 yards, followed by Tyler Lockett, 3 receptions, 68 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Marquise Goodwin, 3 receptions, 48 yards, and then Travis Homer, 2 receptions, 45 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it, and the defense, like, you fell apart. You gave up over 500 yards of offense. 300 of those were to Josh Jacobs. So, yeah, that's a pretty bad look for the defense. And then the Rams, an expected 26-10 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. Bryce Perkins was terrible, threw for 100 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Lead rusher was also Bryce Perkins with 44 yards. Lead receiver was Van Jefferson, 3 receptions, 29 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Williams, 3 receptions, 25 yards, and then Tutu Atwell, 2 receptions, 23 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, like, they just got scored apart by the Kansas City Chiefs. Once again, the Chiefs, they're an elite offense. It's pretty hard to stop them. Seahawks are 8-point favorites to win this one, so I don't even know if Stafford's coming back. May still be in concussion protocol. Doesn't matter. Seahawks win, but don't cover the spread, even if Stafford plays or not. And now you have our very next matchup, a classic AFC West rivalry between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Starting off with the Chargers, a crucial 25-24 victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Starting off, Justin Herbert is that guy, threw for 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rush was also Justin Herbert with 38 yards because Eckler could not get anything going on the ground. Lead receiver was DeAndre Carter, 7 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Austin Eckler, 11 receptions, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Jordan Palmer, 5 receptions, 56 yards, and then Keenan Allen, 5 receptions, 49 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. And the defense, there was a fair amount of bending they did towards the Arizona Cardinals, but you were able to scrape out the victory as you were down 24-23, and Brandon Staley calls for the bold 2-point conversion attempt. Nice pass over to Gerald Everett to win the game. So let's go Chargers, because I'm a complete sucker for Justin Herbert. And then the Las Vegas Raiders, I can never get a grasp on you guys. 140-34 over the Seattle Seahawks. Derek Carr, okay game, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Lead rusher Josh Jacobs with 229 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also led receiving with 6 receptions for 74 yards. He had 303 yards on the entire game. I pray for everyone who played against him in fantasy. Fortunately, I did not, so y'all can suck it. Anyways, followed it up to Vontae Adams, 7 receptions, 74 yards. Mac Hollins, 4 receptions, 63 yards and a touchdown. And then Amir Abdullah, 3 receptions, 39 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. And the defense, there were a lot of struggles. They stopped the run, but could not stop the pass of the Seahawks, but it was still just enough to win. Chargers, they're favored to win this one by 1.5. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread because Justin Herbert is that guy. Now you have our very next matchup, a rematch of the 2021 AFC Championship game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. Man, when these two, they played against each other twice last year, and the Chiefs and Bengals games were always some amazing things to watch. Starting off with the Chiefs, won 26-10 over the LA Rams. Patrick Mahomes threw for 320 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Lead rusher was Pacheco with 69 yards and a touchdown. Nice. Lead receiver, who else but Travis Kelce, 4 receptions, 57 yards. Follow that up with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, 4 receptions, 56 yards. And then Juju Smith-Schuster, 3 receptions, 38 yards. That was pretty much it. Like, the thing is, there was not really a true number one because Patrick Mahomes was spreading the ball out towards everyone, which is something I love to see. It's a lot like what Drew Brees did in his career. He just spread the ball out everywhere. We love to see that. And the defense, they shut down the Rams, but it is the Rams. They are sputtering. They got no depth one bit whatsoever. And then the Bengals won 20-16 over the Tennessee Titans. Joe Burrow threw for 270 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher was Samaje Perine with 58 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was T. Higgins, 7 receptions, 114 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Hayden Hurst, 6 receptions, 57 yards, and then Samaje Perine, 4 receptions, 35 yards. That's pretty much it. And the defense, they were able to shut down the Tennessee Titans. Once again, it's the Titans. I'm not insanely high on their offense. Anyways, the Chiefs are 2-point favorites to win this one. However, the last time the Bengals beat the Titans, they would go on to the AFC Championship game to beat the Bengals. Do the Bengals repeat that? No, they don't. Chiefs win and cover the spread. And now you have our Sunday Night Football matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Dallas Cowboys. Starting out with the Colts, disappointing like you do always, lost 24-17 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Matty Ice threw for 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Lead rusher was Jonathan Taylor with 86 yards and a touchdown, but a critical fumble in the red zone in the 4th quarter, which was basically the turning point of the game. Lead receiver was Jelani Woods, 8 receptions, 98 yards, followed by Michael Pittman Jr., 7 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown. And then Mo Alley Cox, 2 receptions, 14 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, like, they could shut down the pass, but they couldn't shut down the rush game of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the Cowboys won 28-20 over the New York Giants on Thanksgiving. Prescott, not his best, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Lead rusher was Ezekiel Elliott with 92 yards and a touchdown, followed by Tony Pollard with 60. So, really with the Cowboys, as long as they keep the ground game going, they'll be fine because, you know, even though they have a nice passing game, not having Amari Cooper still hurts them. Anyways, but lead receiver, CeeDee Lamb, 6 receptions, 106 yards, followed by Michael Gallup, 5 receptions, 63 yards. Ferguson, 3 receptions, 57 yards, and then Dalton Schultz, 4 receptions, 31 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That was pretty much it, and the defense just shut down the New York Giants. So, good victory overall. Cowboys are 10.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm saying they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our Monday Night Football matchup, a rematch of the 2020 NFC Divisional game and a classic NFC South rivalry between my boys in the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Start off with the Saints. Pathetic 13-0 loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Andy Dalton, not his best, threw for 204 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was also Andy Dalton with 21 yards, so apparently feeding Kamara is a sin, which, you know, once again, feed Alvin Kamara, for God's sakes. Lead receiver Chris Olave, 5 receptions, 62 yards, followed by Rashid Shaheed, 2 receptions, 53 yards, and then Alvin Kamara, 6 receptions, 37 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they did a fine job against a hot offense like the San Francisco 49ers. But if our offense had somewhat of a pulse, we would have won that game. Just pathetic. And then the Buccaneers got humiliated 23-17 by the Cleveland Browns. Tom Brady was solid, threw for 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Rachaad White with 64 yards. Lead receiver was Chris Godwin, 12 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Rachaad White, 9 receptions, 45 yards, and then Julio Jones, 3 receptions, 40 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense, they just could not shut down Jacoby Brissett, Amari Cooper, and Nick Chubb. But that's a tough threesome to stop. Anyways, Bucs are 3.5-point favorites to win this one, but come on. You know what I'm going to say? Who dat nation with the upset? Saints win. That is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you want to watch my last video, click right over here. If you like this video, drop a like, subscribe to my channel by clicking over here, or the subscribe button down below. Comment down below what your thoughts are on this week. Who's your upset of the week, lock of the week, favorite team going to win. Follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at Brendan Suter. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. And also, Movember's coming to an end. So next video, you're going to see me without any stubble, but you're going to see me in something else. Anyways, Who Dat Nation is out.